Movie review time. The Children Act. The film of Ian McEwan's novel. Is it any good? Is it worth seeing? Stick around and you'll find out. My family are big fans of Love Actually. Do you remember that? It was a good few years old now. It's Richard Curtis rom-com. Multiple roms. I suppose you could say. It's intertwined stories of about, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 couples, something like that, and they fall in and out of love over the course of a run-up to Christmas. Hugh Grant is in it, he plays the Prime Minister. Martine McCutcheon is in it. Remember her from EastEnders? She plays a sort of tea lady at number 10 who falls in love with Hugh Grant, and why not indeed. Bill Nighy, he plays a rock star who falls in love with his manager, played by that Scottish guy who used to be in that Ramsay Nesbitt, I think. Martin Freeman is in it, he's naked some of the time. Colin Firth is in it as well, and various other people. Anyway, what has this got to do with the Children Act? Well, one of the people who is in Love Actually is Emma Thompson, and Emma Thompson plays the brother of Hugh Grant, who's the Prime Minister, and Emma Thompson is married to Alan Rickman, the late great Alan Rickman. And Alan Rickman has an affair, because it's Love Actually, isn't it? And Emma Thompson suspects, and then she finds out. And it's Christmas, and they've given their gifts to each other. And Alan Rickman gives Emma Thompson a gift, which she unwraps, and for some rather complicated reasons, she thinks it's a necklace. And it's not a necklace, it's a CD of Joni Mitchell's greatest hits. And she's disappointed, and she goes upstairs into her bedroom, excuses herself from her family, and what follows is 2 minutes of possibly the greatest acting performance I have ever seen. Emma Thompson falls to pieces in front of the camera. She doesn't say anything. There's no sound except Joni Mitchell singing Both Sides Now on the soundtrack. And Emma Thompson acts a woman who's just found out that her husband's having an affair. And the waves of disappointment, anger, betrayal, the broken sense of feeling that she has about her life and where it's gone and where it's been and where it might not be going, plays across her face in a way that I have never seen. And it never fails to touch me, that scene, and listening to Joni Mitchell sing Both Sides Now never fails to bring it back. Emma Thompson is the star of the Children Act. She's the main character, she's the lead character, and she's the character around the whole film revolves. And she is excellent, she is really good. But there isn't 2 minutes in the Children Act that comes close to her performance in Love Actually. And the reason, I believe, is that The Children Act is a film written by Ian McEwan from his novel, and he writes the screenplay. And Ian McEwan, being a writer, is somebody who sees everything through the medium of words, whereas a film has to see it through the medium of images. And Ian McEwan describes what people are seeing, are feeling, but a film needs to show what they're feeling. And Emma Thompson shows, yes she does, and she speaks the words that Ian McEwan has written. She does it very well. But there is that extra, that frisson that is missing. Now the film is, it's good film. I enjoyed it. It's an adult film. I don't mean it's a porn film. I mean it's a film for adults. It's a film that discusses adult themes. It's a film that discusses some quite difficult scenes, or some quite difficult themes rather. The central premise I found fairly preposterous. She is a High Court judge. She specialises in the law as it relates to children, in particular issues around medical treatment for children, and in this particular instance a Jehovah's Witness family whose son is 17. He has leukemia. He requires a blood transfusion in order to receive some additional drugs that could well save his life, and being Jehovah's Witnesses, they are against blood transfusions. He is against blood transfusions, and she has to decide whether she's in favour of the family's viewpoint and of course the son's viewpoint, or whether she is in favour of the medical viewpoint and blood transfusion should prevail. I won't tell you what she decides, although the film is in many ways rather predictable. She plays a High Court judge, as I say. She's married to Stanley Tucci. It's a childless marriage. In some respects a happy marriage, but it founders on a scene of unhappiness which is believable but a little bit far-fetched. And my main problem with the film is that the basic premise is far-fetched. I just didn't believe in it. The boy does his best. I mean, he's in a hospital bed. He's 17. He's got leukemia. He's got to act like he's dying. I mean, it's not the easiest gig in the world, and he does his best. He does it quite well. But films have to be believable, and sometimes you can try too hard to structure a story around the idea that you want to present. That the idea works, but the story doesn't quite work. But don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed the film. And I went with my wife Jane, and we both really enjoyed the film. Quite often happens, of course, is after you've seen a film, you start to talk about it, and then you start to dissect it, and then you start to find plot holes, and then you find other plot holes, and then you find other things to complain about, and before you know it, the whole edifice of the film has fallen down. Now, don't get me wrong, that hasn't happened with this film, and I do want to stress that it's a good film, it's well made. Ian McEwan wrote the screenplay. Perhaps he shouldn't have done. Perhaps the person who writes the book isn't always the best person to write the screenplay. It's directed by Richard Eyre, and it's directed very well by Richard Eyre. Stanley Tucci is very good. He doesn't have a great deal to do, but he does it well. The standout performance for me, apart from Emma Thompson, who is, let's face it, a superb actress, although there isn't a scene in here that's as good as the scene in Love Actually. The standout performance for me is Jason Watkins, who has been in a number of films lately and plays her clerk, and his is a wonderful, wonderful understated performance. So if you're an adult, I would say go and see it. And if you're a young person who's interested in adult type themes, go and see it. And if you're somebody who likes Emma Thompson and her performance, go and see it. It's a good film. But if you want to see acting of the very highest order, and you don't mind Richard Curtis, and he can get on your nerves, let's face it, go and find that scene of Emma Thompson in Love Actually on YouTube. I'm sure it's on there. She's acting along to Both Sides Now by Joni Mitchell, which in itself is worth finding on YouTube, and watch that. The Children Act, yeah, go and see it. I enjoyed it. See you next time.